Hello YouTube, this is a video on how I relic'd my Ratocaster Strat Style Guitar. If you follow my channel, you know I picked this up for £49 in a charity shop, and I put some Warman pickups in it, as well as some Wilkinson tuners. Both I took off my old Shine Strat copy, which was completely knackered, so I got this instead. This guitar has a dark blue finish, and frankly I'm not really a fan of the colour, so I figured, well, I could get it refinished, or I could have a go at relicing and see how it turns out. And as you can see, I think I did a pretty good job. I think it looks pretty natural. So let me take you through what I did to make it look like this. Okay, so what you're going to need to do this is a Cruise multi-tool. These are really good high quality guitar multi-tools. One side is metric, the other side is imperial, so it should fit any guitar. This is really useful. And some fine grain sandpaper. Okay, so the first step is to lightly sand over the body very, very gently with a bit of sandpaper. This just takes the shine off the paint and makes it look a bit old, and so it doesn't reflect the light so much. The next thing I did was get my multi-tool and use the claw attachment specifically, and just on an edge where I wanted it to be a bit marked, I'd knock it just to create a little dink in the paint. And then I'd use the screwdriver end, and this is the important bit, you very lightly chip it away. So you hold it with one hand, and then the other hand you push on it sideways. Therefore you're taking the paint off in very small sections, and you're not digging into the wood too much. Now this is a polyurethane finish, and one of the problems I had with it is that it does seem to break off in little U shapes. So you've got to be very gentle to make sure that it doesn't come off in big flakes, because it can ruin the pattern that you're going for. But even if it does do that, don't worry, because if you're very gentle, you can just take the edge off the U's by pushing it very gently with the screwdriver, and that should even it out. If you can see on the horn here, where I relic'd the shoulder wear, I had that problem, and I went a little bit too far because it came off in big U's, but I was able to save it, and I don't think it looks too bad. The important thing, remember, is to not dig in too much, because when I did the wear on the back of the guitar, unfortunately, this is the first area I did, and I did dig in too much, so you can see some wood grain that's raised because I'm afraid I hit it a bit too hard, dug in too hard. However, I suppose as this area is supposed to be buckle rash, it looks okay. It doesn't look too bad anyway. I also got some wear on the edge, you see, where it would have taken a dive from a stand at some point, or hit an amp or something in its life, and it's got a big knock near the jack socket. Again, this is quite difficult to get right on the edge there, get the shape right. I think the rule of thumb with relicing is less is more, and go very slowly and very carefully to make sure you don't ruin the shape that you're after. It's very easy to sort of be a bit overzealous and go too far with it, so you've got to be held back. And sometimes I find just little dinks and chips like this, and especially this, I love this bit. See, near the intonation screws, where someone will have stabbed it with a screwdriver by accident. Sometimes less is more. I love little details like that. I think they look great. I also very, very lightly just rub the top of the bridge with some sandpaper, again just to rough it up a little bit. And the next step is to darken the wood of the guitar. When I got this, it had no branding on it whatsoever, and so I've no idea what it's made from, but the wood was very light. That R is the only branding on it, so I have no idea what it is. But once I'd taken the finish off and got through the white primer underneath to the wood, I noticed it was a very, very light wood, and it didn't look right. I lightly went over it with some tea bags, making sure that the tea bag doesn't break, which does happen after a while, and unfortunately it's a little bit uneven in a couple of spots where it's the tea soaked in too far. But you rub it over with a tea bag, wait for it to dry so that the the colour soaks into the wood, and just repeat as needed until the wood is as dark as you want it to be. And I've stopped to the extent where the wood looks a similar sort of hue to the natural maple fretboard, which I haven't touched. I left that as is, and I think it looks pretty convincing. So that's how I relic'd my Ratocaster Strat copy. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll answer as best I can. Thanks for watching. Bye.